one of them used this popular thing, my future self. So it's meditating on its future self.
Do you believe in future self? Do you believe in past self, present self and future self? Because if you did means you believe in a linear time, in like evolution, see that self is something that it can be changed. I don't know.
Nothing changes, nothing evolves.
Nothing. Things change, nothing
remains the same.
Okay.
If it can remain.
There's nothing that can happen to it.
That can happen to it.
Yeah, that's why they gave us a separate room. Well, anyway, do not go gentle into that good night. I didn't Thomas. Do you know this poem? Ever heard about it?
It's only my future self.
Oh, no problem. You connect to your future self, and your future self somewhere tells you all about this poem. Well, anyway, it's a super famous poem
by a super famous poet.
So let's read it and see what makes it so super popular.
Super popular. Okay, let's do it.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sound in flight, learned too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Brave men, near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So, do you notice anything interesting about the poem?
One thing which is unusual is the way the poet combines lines into stanzas. We are normally accustomed to have 4 lines in a stanza. Here we have only 3. And another thing about those stanzas is that people in the good old days were accustomed to poems as rhyming words. They rhyme. People today are accustomed to words. So good words today is a word that doesn't rhyme, that has words all over the place. Here, it's something in between.
No, it's not in between. It all rhymes.
It all, well,
if you look closely.
Yeah, if we look closely, it says night, light, right, night, bright, light, 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 something like that. And then line 2 is day, lay, day, way, gay. So it sort of rhymes, but rhymes in a very special way. And also, if I were a poet and if I were smart, I would think of the significance of this words repeated. Night and then again.
Not just words repeated, it's lines repeated. The last line, you see?
Rage, rage.
And do not go gentle and rage, rage. Do not go gentle, rage, rage. And then you put them together. Do not go gentle, rage, rage.
But isn't it something typical of a song? If you sing it, then
Well,
you are supposed to repeat it.
Can
we sing it, sort of? Can this poem be...
Maybe. Or you can sing any song. Your tea goes away to another planet. But anyway, it's called a villanelle. It's a special type of poem which is called villanelle. And that's how you write it. You have 2 rhymes, you repeat your line, yeah, you use 3 lines in stanza, and then in the end you put them together. So we have another famous villanelle called, it's not a very popular thing, it's much less popular than a sonnet. We have The Art of Losing Isn't Hard to Master, that was written by Elizabeth Bishop. Not many more, I guess. So he chooses a very special form. Yeah.
For a very special purpose.
For this poem. So why?
Maybe. He chooses this special thing because he has a special purpose. And then somebody knows what his special purpose might be. This somebody is probably present somewhere here. It's certainly not me.
Well, anyway, what sort of impression does this form give you? So if you have like A, B, B, C, C, D, D, it's very light, you can just go on forever.
Yeah, and it's good for children's songs, children's poetry. It's easy to understand and it's easy to sing, it's easy to do anything.
So if you have
with it.
A, B, or A, B, B, A, B, B, A, B, A, B, then it's something, again, it's something complete. Finish it. Little finished stanzas. But here what you have, they're not finished, they're open. So you have line 2 rhyming with the next line 2. So that connects these stanzas.
So it's an interconnection between all those stanzas.
But it's not like the Divine Comedy by Dante, where you just have 3 lines and they keep connecting. You have the lines repeating. Why? What happens if you repeat your lines?
Either they stick in your memory, or at least you do something. You do that to stress the line, to make it sound more important, to sort of say, okay, I'm saying something, this is my idea, or it might sound like my idea, maybe it's not. And then I say it again, and then think of it.
So maybe, as you keep repeating, it's a little bit like obsession.
Really?
So your mind follows those power lines of rhyming, and as you keep repeating the same rhyme, the same line, it means you keep coming back to the same point. So each rhyme is a point. So as you read it, it's not just in time as you read it, it's also in space. And you can feel it, like little roads from a rhyme to a rhyme. And all those roads come back to the same place, and then again to the same place, and again to the same place.
Sounds like a vicious circle.
It is. It's very vicious. So what is the subject here? Why do you need this obsession? Why do you need to come back to rage, and don't go gently?
There's something about death and dying in the poem. There's something about darkness and light, which are, I would say, contrasted. You would say they're not contrasted. They are a little bit different, but that's...
So it means he's really emotional about the subject, which is what? What's the subject here? And you, my father, there on the set height, do not go gentle the good night.
Well, death is often compared to sleep.
Oh, not
sleep.
here.
Not here.
Not here. So here he is very upset about his father dying.
Yes.
And as his father accepts his death, he doesn't. So he is raging instead of his father. Yeah? It's like, oh no, you are dying, but you're so peaceful. Don't be so peaceful. That's what he says here.
Okay.
So personally, I don't agree with the idea. I like the previous poem more about, what was it? Like the wise man whispered to his soul with a sigh to go. That's better. Because here we have someone. What kind of a person? Probably.
Well, we have someone who's willing to die. Well, who's not willing to die, but who's
going to die.
Who's going to die anyway. And he basically says, "Well, okay, I'm going to die. That's let it be." And we have someone who disagrees. Yes, you're going to die. You agree with it because you have no choice. And again, there's something we discussed previously, whether you have any choice, whether you can choose to die or not. And
I can always
the poet,
choose.
well, the poet probably thinks that you can't. Sort of, it's very humiliating to our poet for someone to agree with something which is inevitable anyway, which you have no control over, and then you sort of have to accept it. You accept it because you have no other choice. You can't say, I'm not accepting my death, I'm not going to die, and then you're dead anyway.
Yeah, so what we have here, it's like one person's position, but by showing that position, it gives us the other position, because he wouldn't be so courageous if. Yeah. So his father represents the other side. We don't see it, but we know it is. He goes gently into the good night, and the night is good, he says. And we have his son, who wants him to rage. We have those constant waves, because as you say, do not go gentle into that good night. We don't realize, we don't take the word not. What we feel is go gentle into that good night. And the night is good, and go gentle is good.
Yeah.
And then we flip the position, we say rage, rage against the dying of the light. Something opposite. So we have something calm and something raging.
But isn't it... Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stop saying that. I might save my idea till later, till I can forget it. Okay?
Well, anyway, as you are there on the set height, no one else can do it for you. And if you say, you, go die unpeacefully, it's like, well, go die unpeacefully yourself. When it's your turn, and you do what you like. It's my death, do not interfere with it. Yeah.
Well, it's... I don't know. When someone dies, and that's... When someone dies, that person, any person, no person lives in isolation, no man is an island, that sort of thing.
Yep.
As you die, as I die, my death affects people around me, people physically present around me, people present in that poem, and
there are lots of things that affect everyone, like weather, like
everything is interconnected. Weather is affecting us.
So
tea is
are you
affecting
going
us.
to control weather because it's affecting people?
Well, we can control weather to a certain extent. We can send planes into the sky, and then we can make sure there are no shadows when we don't want any shadows, and then we have...
Oh, we can create hurricanes and tornadoes and floods and what have you. It's all very easy.
It's all
that's not the question.
Well, so this can be controlled to a certain extent. Other things.
Another thing is why do you want to control somebody's death, which is the most private and personal thing?
But is it private? Is it private? You are born, and it's not your decision to be born, so it's not your private decision.
Is it? Again, it depends on your point of view.
It depends. It depends. But when you are born, it's not something that just happens. It's someone giving birth. Again, it's not you. It's not you. So somehow you are interconnected with your parents, or in this very physical way. And then, as you go on living, you enter lots of connections with other people. They affect you. You affect them. And if you die, this connection is severed, it stops, or it remains, or something.
It's not severed. It's being taken to the other side. It remains. It does not disappear.
Well, you die. No, I die. I'm pointing at myself. I die, and there's no physical presence of me in this world. There are things that might remind of me, but there's no physical presence. And as this physical presence stops, other people can long for it if they...
Well, that's their problem.
Or they can, that's their problem. But if they do that for some reasons,
that's entirely their problem.
That's entirely their problem.
Why should you be bothered by their problems? It's their problems. You have your own problems. We all do. Yeah? So they're only bothered by your death by the extent they're bothering themselves. And anyway, it's your business. My death is my business, nobody else's. And if I'm shy to die properly because, I'm afraid to embarrass someone, then what's the point of living? You are going to die anyway. And if somebody, cries, sheds bitter tears, which they probably won't do anyway, or maybe they would. Well, anyway, that's their problem. That's their experience. That's how they take it. It does not depend on you. It depends on them.
Something I do makes them feel a certain way. Then it's direct.
It's my responsibility to live forever so that my friends won't cry. Is that it?
Well, it depends on who says that. For some people it's certainly true. For some people it's certainly not true.
Suppose you want to die peacefully and somebody tells you, no, rage. You silly old man, go rage.
But isn't it also true then that you just want to sleep peacefully and then someone interferes? As we look at old people, people who are close to us, our parents, for example, or people we know quite well, people who have known for a very long time, as they get older, they can get frail, they can get weak, they can get something, and it can all be happening in a very peaceful way. So that sort of this decline might be happening in a very peaceful way. They might not notice it themselves, but we do. And we might think, oh, why are you just sitting there doing nothing? You must.
Every time you're bothered by somebody else's problem means you have that problem. Isn't that true?
No, it's not true.
So if you're peaceful, then you will be happy to see that somebody else is peaceful. If you're not peaceful, if you haven't accepted your death, then you would not be happy about somebody accepting death.
If I'm not peaceful, I might be happy to see someone else who is peaceful, because I might have a chance to talk to that person, or at least to have a certain interaction. Maybe just look at that person who is peaceful.
Do we want it?
And then I might have more peace of my own.
That's a bit of a paradox.
Like sort of opposites attract.
Okay, that's a bit of a paradox. That's the opposites that repel. So unless you want, you have your will, saying, oh, I know I'm not peaceful, but I want to be peaceful, then you can be attracted. But if you're just not peaceful, and you're fine with it, you're, oh, how dare you be peaceful! No, rage against, no matter what.
There's one more thing about it. It's probably foreign to that poem. It's probably not. I don't know. You decide. Peace often means being peaceful in a religious sense, and peace is probably very important in Christianity, for example, means being free of passions. Being free of all those bad, I don't know, I'm just trying to find a good synonym. All those bad things, it's not they're not things, but okay. Being free of all those bad things. And then you're peaceful, you are in a state that you are happy about yourself. You are happy about being where you are. You are happy about not being where you are. You don't care. It's good for you. If you have all those strong passions, if you rage, if you disagree with things, if you can't find peace within yourself, it can be very painful. Unlike that condition. That condition might be just nirvana. You are very happy.
Oh, that's all Buddhistic.
Yeah, but you might, because you are passionate about something, because you feel rage, you might do something in this world that changes it to a certain extent. You might be, at least, you might be writing good poems, because if you are peaceful, why do you want to write anything? You're peaceful, you're happy as you are. It's like entropy.
Yeah. The thing is, we really like aggression. We really like doing, raging. We think that's the answer to all problems. Like physics, oh, let's have a big explosion that explains everything. Oh, it doesn't. Let's have this poem, rage, be aggressive. That solves all your problems. It doesn't really work. So if you have your transition, if it happens naturally, well, there is some sort of violence, obviously, in all sorts of transition, like a baby being born, that's really aggressive. Maybe we're not doing it the right way. Maybe we forgot how to do it. I don't know. Ask someone else.
Well, I never tried.
Well, neither. Did I? Well, anyway. as your transgression happens smoothly, isn't it better? If it can and does happen smoothly and gently, naturally, then why do you want to resist? And as you put resistance, you have this counter power. You just make it worse for yourself, don't you?
Can you escape it if you feel rage? Can
No, you can't
just
escape
say,
it. You
okay,
just go like a fool or like an idiot.
We can pretend being peaceful and happy. We can smile when we don't want to smile. We can, but it's not the thing we're talking about.
No.
The poet's father is not pretending. He has. It makes no sense to pretend you accept your death. So he's not pretending, and the poet is not pretending to have accepted his father's death. To have said, "Do not shed tears. Do not all those beautiful words John Donne said last week. He does not pretend to be thinking all those ideas, because these ideas are not his ideas. His ideas are all about rage, and many people do indeed feel rage when these things happen. It might be just as often there is something that connects lots of different things. It might be just being sad in a very strong way, well, about somebody's death. It might be being sad because you lost control. Control over something you can't control anyway, because you can't control. You can't entirely control other people's lives. You can to a certain extent, and that's what we always do.
So anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm just raging. Yeah, I don't usually do that. So sorry for using this room as an outlet for my rage.
Oh, no problem.
It's just white and green and black.
Yeah,
it's all very
raging.
peaceful. It's all very peaceful, and then you want to have something to remind it.
Anyway. If the person accepts their death and it's not a problem for them, then why should it be a problem for you? If they're happy with it, why aren't you?
I'm not happy about it. They're happy, I'm not.
Because it's not you, it's them. It's what happens to them, and they're happy about it. Or do you? So that poem is like, oh, I want to control not only life but death too. Like
I want to control everything.
Like God, the Creator.
Yeah.
That's what he says here.
Yeah. Basically.
It's like I order you to love that person. I order you to hate that person. I order you to live that way. I order you to feel that way when you die.
Well, sort of, it's inappropriate to a certain extent, but that's...
Okay, please continue.
This continue, okay. It might be silly, and it usually is. It might be inappropriate, and it usually is. But that's what usually happens. We want, not we. You probably don't, but many people, including me, want, maybe subconsciously, want control over lots and lots of things.
Yeah, and that's a very hard job.
And that's a very hard job because you can't really do that.
That you can control it. Well, anyway, that point is very important because it's like a barometer. It's like showing your needle. You read it, and one side says go gentle, and the other side says rage. And do you feel very emotional about it? Do you feel emotionally drawn to one side or to the other? If you do, if you do feel like that, then it's something to learn about yourself,
Yeah.
which is more important than this poet's problems. Because he obviously has a problem, but he has a beautiful way of expressing it.
Don't all poets have problems?
Well, no.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Not necessarily. Why are they writing?
Well, for many reasons. There's magic in the air, and you spin this web of magic. Isn't that a reason good enough? It's like, oh, if you're a poet, you must be unhappy. If you're an artist, you must have a broken heart and to live, I don't know, alone in a dirty flat and drink 5 bottles of whiskey every day. It's not true. It's not true. So all those things are, I guess, a kind of accelerators. So if you're too busy to fill this web, then as you have strong emotions, again aggression, that sort of distracts you from your daily busyness. And then you can pay attention to those nothings, maybe. Well, you don't have to go there. Oh, funny. Okay. So let's look a bit closely into the poem. Do not go gentle to that good night, old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
We don't want darkness. We don't want to plunge into darkness. We want light to remain.
Mm-hmm.
And because we want light to be with us, light will be with us.
And
that's disappearing. That's rage, rage, rage.
Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. Why do we say that death is like darkness and life is like light?
That's how
Why do we use those images?
That's how we understand it.
Why?
When someone dies, he or she is buried, and usually there's darkness in the place where one is buried. At least that's how it's traditional.
Traditions.
Well, we have lots of traditions.
Go underground.
Yeah, but that's how you imagine things.
So why death is dark and life is light?
Because it's light outside, and we're sort of outside, and those that are somewhere there, and it's all dark and boring and maybe very...
Well, that's a Greek
those are the images,
afterlife.
yeah.
So we have all those different sorts of afterlife, all those religions and beliefs. So if you go to the Greek
and that's the
side,
belief, and that's this little poet.
I mean, if you take it
Believe in afterlife, he
in
probably
other
doesn't.
religions, yeah. If you take it in like Christianity and Judaism or Muslims again, then you don't have a dark afterlife. It's nice and happy.
Yeah, and that's where real life.
If you're a Buddhist, if you're a Hindu, then you don't have death at all. You have this reincarnation cycle, so it's not dark again. It all depends on you. So why do we still connect? And since Europe, Russia, they're very Christian countries, or used to be, then really death is not supposed to be dark and heavy.
But that's not what we can easily see. That's not what we can easily see. What we can see, if we follow these burial traditions, is someone being buried somewhere there, and that's what we see. That's what we are sure about. He is there. Then somebody says, "Oh, it's his body, or her body is there."
What is dark? Let's put it another way.
Okay.
Let's say, what else dark that we have? We have a dark matter, black stars. We have darkness as death. Death is darkness. So what's common there? We say, oh, it's dark waters.
Well, it's something unknown.
Yeah, that's it. Really. So we are very visual beings. We have lots of information coming through eyes. And so we have lots and lots of expressions in all languages which connect knowing with light, like, oh, I see, I understand, and not knowing with darkness. So dark matter is just something they don't understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's,
here too.
And that,
so night or darkness is not something bad. It's not necessarily underground, cold and boring. It's something we don't know. We can't know unless until. And alive is something we sort of see. We don't know what it is, what not what it is. But it's sort of around that, oh, I'm alive, that's good. Yeah, so that's light. Visual light. And then again we have the sun, light, bringing life. And if you plant your plants in a dark place, they're not likely to be very happy. Maybe that.
And then there are candles, which also symbolize something. They symbolize light, they symbolize souls, spirits that try, that wants to get up there, somehow reach the skies. And again, skies and the sun are all about light. When we imagine skies, we like to imagine something that is light blue or something, and if it's not light blue, if it looks like it looks now to me, from where I sit, it's something that we sort of imagine as being very unusual, because there's light and there's a big dark cloud. And again, a dark cloud, metaphorically, is something abnormal. It's something that we usually want to get rid of.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he has a bit of a paradox in here. A bit of paradox. He says the night is good, so why rage against it? It's a good night. It's not a horrible night full of tears. Do you think he tries to see it from the other person's perspective, from that of a dying person who thinks night is good? And we often say, that's obvious, we often say good night to someone, and we often speak of the dead people as being asleep, and that's what's happening normally. But at close of day, and death is night.
Death is night, and we wish good night, but it's not good night to our poet.
It's a good night to his father.
Good night to his father. His father is happy about it. But again, why is he happy?
Why shouldn't he be happy?
Why is he happy? Isn't it because life is terrible and he is tired of living?
Or is it because he acts like a warrior who can accept his death and not run away from it, not trying to bargain with it?
Isn't it better for a true warrior to fight and fight and fight till your last?
Oh, that's a bit different. That's a bit different. Do not go gentle to that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. No, you're doing it all wrong, old man. Look at me. I do it right. Yeah. Well, you're not old. No, but I do it right. Well, you're not dying. Well, yes, I am dying. We're all dying. For goodness sake. Well, you're not dying, like, right now. Well, no, but I think we should rage. And rage against the dying of the light.
There's an image from a book about death and dying. I don't know whether you know it. They used to say it was a pioneering work done by a Hungarian-American psychiatrist named Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And she begins her book by an image of a person dying peacefully somewhere in a Hungarian village in the 1930s or 40s or something. He's there, dying peacefully. He probably was somewhere and he fell down and broke his back, and he's now dying because there's no doctor who can help him. But he's happy about it, sort of. He's peaceful. And his family are around him, waiting for his death.
Oh,
he says,
he's not dead yet.
No. They say, oh. The children are all around him. He says goodbye to them. He says something. He gives some good pieces of advice to his children and things like that. And then he dies peacefully. There's a special ceremony attended by all people in the village and something like that. And it's all peaceful and happy, despite of this person's death. And then Elizabeth Kubler-Ross contrasts that image with something she sees some 20, 30 years later in the United States. So we are in the late 1960s now. A US hospital, well equipped, a person is going to die. He is taken to the hospital, rushed on those special things, connected to all these life-saving mechanisms. He's going to die anyway, but he's not going to die peacefully. They're going to do something to him which he can't control. He's not going to die at the piece of his house. He's not going to die. It might be even that his family are not allowed to see him when he's there because they're not around. And she contrasts all those two images. Her basic premise, as she was writing that book, was that people in the West, people in the United States and other countries of the West at that time, late 90s, 60s, early 70s, were not willing to accept death. And that was a change from something she saw in her little village some years before. And it was not something that was very traditional. Traditionally, you could accept death as inevitable. You could be happy about it to a certain extent when you are dying, and you could be peaceful about somebody else's death.
Well, you said something important here. You said he was going to die anyway, and there was no helping him, like apparently here. So you can't really change it. You know, we are never quite past this healing point, really. But sometimes you just know. I guess sometimes people know it's the time, so they don't resist. So if you're past your time, then you know that's your task, that's your whatever experience. Then how do you react to it? Your reaction isn't going to change the fact that you will die in like 5 minutes. So why do you want to spend your last 5 minutes raging rather than being peaceful? That's a big question. I guess perhaps we still believe that we have that kind of control when we don't. Or that your raging can change it, but we know we can't. And it's to stand between a person and their death. Well, I can't say if it's right or wrong. There's no right or wrong, but it doesn't really feel very polite to start with. As we said, it's a very private business. It's like a man and the wife, and it's their wedding night, and then somebody with a candle, no, you do it wrong, turn the other way, or sort of remarks. Yeah? So it's one thing if the person is willing to be all with those needles and mechanism things in a hospital. Another thing is that person is unconscious and she can't express their will, and the doctors will say, well, it's our duty to do that. or if the person does not want it. I guess you must have a say in that. Because as you watch, there are lots of different cases. Maybe with a cat, with a dog, it's very easy to see. And if, say, the cat is dying, and it's clear that you can't help the cat, and still the owners try to put some medicine in the cat, and the cat just looks ugly when it dies. That's all that happens. Or very impressive is when you have a tiny little kitten. It doesn't even eat food yet, just drinks a bit of milk. A tiny little kitten, it gets sick, and this tiny little kitten, not a person, a little kitten, knows it's going to die any second now. And what the kitten does, it doesn't run around like, oh, help me, help me. What it does, with dignity, it goes to a dark corner and faces its death there. Because it's private. It's not public, it's private. And to run around saying, oh, I'm dying, now look at me, do something for me. Is that what we do now? We forgot how to die. Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah, we forgot how to die, and how do people die now in stupid accidents and hospitals. If you don't accept your death, you try to push it away from you while it is your time. And then it comes some roundabout way. So instead of dying peacefully, with like your last sigh and you fly away happily, you resist, you rage. You just make it worse. You make yourself sick and you end your life in some stupid hospital. Is that what you want? I don't know.
Have this little thing they use when they're filming.
Which is?
Stanza number 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could be a good idea. Like, stanza 2.
Yeah.
So we haven't finished with stanza 1 actually. Another thing here that we can see.
Let's give it another try.
Is age turns into rage. Interestingly. Old age, rave, rage. You see.
People who are old are often peaceful, or they are supposed to be peaceful, and
they're often raging.
They're all, but in fact they're often raging, and
so here he writes like a program. It's like a computer program. Age, rage. As you grow, that's your path to raging, not to peacefulness, to raging. Against the dying of the light. To burn, rave. So we have burning, which here is like aggressive light. Burning and raving against the dying of the light. The wise men therein know dark is right, because their words had forth no lightning. They do not go gentle to that good night. So here we have, let's say, authorities. We have wise men.
Wise men.
So if we look at all these towns, we have wise men, good men, wild men, and grave men. Like your best examples to follow, interestingly. So wise men, we all think, oh, wise men, that's cool.
Yeah. But aren't wise men people who are our they might be experts, philosophers for example, and then we turn to philosophy to find answers to all those difficult questions of our existence. And these wise men basically tell us, okay, you're going to die anyway, and because you're going to die, this is going to happen to you, then it's right.
Well, what they say here.
But it's what's he's trying to disagree. That's why he says the fact that you're going to die is something connected to darkness. It's not connected to light. And then he says this darkness, this bad thing is right. Dying is a bad thing. But these white men
the dark is right because the wars had worked no lightning. They say, well, they tried to bring some light, some knowledge into the world.
Yeah.
No, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
So they say, well, then dark is right because we are losers. We couldn't do it. We failed.
We failed.
So we don't want to fail. So let's just say.
Well, they just say, well, it's facing the inevitable. Because it's inevitable, it should be right. Isn't it what they're saying? Isn't it what you're saying?
So they say the wars had worked no lightning.
They were saying words, and well, lightning is something that happens in the sky, something that's usually accompanied by thunder. Yeah, so
dark lightning.
Yeah, but there can be dark. There can be a huge dark cloud in the sky, a shadow, and then
what we have here, in the poem, we create darkness. At their end, know that dark is right. We have this big dark, because it's connected with their end. It's the end of things, the end of all. And then in that big dark we have no lightning, a tiny little lightning which disappears. And their wars create no lightning. Fourth, no lightning. So we have dark, lightning and wars and wise men. And they do not roll gentle to a good night. So even though they know it's right, they still don't do it. Why do you say they are wise? What's wise in that? It's like, it's not wise men, it's like scientists today, which are not very scientific anymore. It's like, oh, our equation was wrong, our theory was wrong. It means the reality is wrong. We'll get more data and we'll change it until it fits our proposition, our theory. That's what they do now. We can't prove it, but if it doesn't agree with reality, then reality is wrong. Is it science? And of course, if that's not wise men, but more like a scientist, then they don't really know that dark is right. But like you said, they pretend to know. And then they rage against it. They don't go gentle because they don't really understand it. Right? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Isn't it just trying to... Isn't he protesting against trying to say all those bad things that happen are right because they happen? If they're happening, then they must happen. They are inevitable because they happen. If they happen, they are predetermined.
At their end, here.
And then the only way for someone who wants peace of mind is to accept things as they are. Isn't it?
Anyway, so we have at their end, not at their beginning, not in the middle. As they're about to die, only at the very last second of their bodily 3D existence, they realize something, but they don't even realize it fully. because they still don't agree with it. So it's like they're wise men, but they're very stupid. Yeah? So we have wise men who are stupid, then good men, the last wave by. Again, we have wise, then, okay, I'm not wise, I'm just a normal person. Okay, good man. Would you like to be like a good person? Would you like to be a good person? Good man, the last wave by. Again, the ending. The last wave by. Crying, how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Can you see this paradox here? So we had the paradox in the beginning. Gentle, good night, but don't go there, even though it's good. We had this paradox in the second stanza, which is wise men being very stupid, not knowing till the very end. What's here? What happens here?
What happens there?
Well, another minute. You can have a biscuit.
Who?
It.
You can have a biscuit. How many does it want?
How many biscuits do you want, Froggy? What?
The green one. The one with
The green one.
Green.
You want to have a green one? Oh, it looks like a flying saucer. I
That's what it
identified.
is.
Oh, anyway.
Okay.
Well, anyway.
The clock has stopped.
Well, it never knew in the first place. Who said it was a clock? It's your expectations that turn into a clock. It's never been a clock.
Shall we close the door then?
Oh, it might be a good idea.
Because that creates the atmosphere. Somebody will want to look inside, but he can't.
Well,
Can't be expected to look inside if the door is open.
So we had a wise man who are stupid. Now we have a good man who rage against the dying of the light. They're crying and they are raging. It's like they're not really good men. Because why do they do all their good things?
Good men don't cry.
Oh, they don't cry when they see they have no reward. It's like they have been doing all that for some kind of reward, like immortality maybe. And now they say, how bright their frail deeds might have danced as they do their deeds. It's like, oh, they're great deeds, they're good men. Doing
They're
good
very proud of
things.
it. They're proud of
Now,
what they do.
the last wave by, before you die, you realize nothing was true.
Nothing matters.
So you thought you were a wise man. Your last second you realize you're very stupid, never knew anything. You thought you were a good man.
Yeah, you did
and
something
lots
good.
of great things.
Yeah.
You're
And
going
then
to die. It's
you-
like, oh, frail deeds, nothing.
And you can't take your good deeds with you, can you?
Well, who knows?
You can't. Some good deeds, you know. If you're a wise man, and you have done lots of good things, you're very rich, and you can't take your money with you, and that's what many people. Yeah, that's what many people forget.
So now those seemingly good men show their true nature, and they rage and cry, and they protest. And, oh, we're the good ones! If you talk about little butterflies and froggy frogs, then no problem. But if you talk about good men being crazy and things, then what happens? Well, anyway. Phew. I've tried to be a wise man. I found out I was very stupid. I tried to be a good man. I found out I was not good. I was very evil. Really. I was just pretending to be good. Right? frail things might have danced in the green bay. Oh, what's a green bay? So first we have this big darkness with a little no lightning. Then we have a bit more light. We have this green bay, and how bright. We don't have any dark words in here. Yeah, the diamond light. So this part is more lighter, and more light in it. What's a green bay? Oh dearie. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late. They grieved it on its way. Do not call gentle to them good night. So if you're not wise, if you're not good, maybe you're wild. Look
You're
at that wild.
You're a poet, you're wild.
What is wild? It's like true to their nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? They caught and sang the sun in flight.
Yeah, they caught the sun in flight.
Mm-hmm.
And they could sing the sun.
Uh-huh.
They were.
So they're the sun holders.
Yes.
So they're very cool. Learn too late, they grieve it on its way. So all that while they've been sad, they never knew. Is that what he's trying to say? Well, again, maybe you're wise, maybe you're good, maybe you're wild, but it's you learn too late, only the last moment. They had some wrong ideas about yourself. Yeah? So if you say, I'm a wise person, I'm a good person, I'm a wild person, you're like, that's a very popular word now, like they say, you label yourself, you define yourself, and then what happens? You're more than any definitions. You're infinite, not definite. And then obviously, as you're at the door to infinity, you find out that your definition is left behind, because you're much more than that.
You're not a thing.
Aye. So first we had just emptiness, darkness, and then we had this strange green bay. Now we have the sun in flight. Interesting mapping. Do not go gentle to that good night. Grave man. So it's wise, good, wise. The moral is go gentle into that good night. The good night.